Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are down to the final game of today, and everyone is joining us on the desk. We have WTF2 Jakes as well as Tegan joining me, Matthew Stewart, for the final game of today. It's going to be the second seed team from the GPL as well as the LJL taking on one another.
Come on, mate. It's a PG show. WTH.
What the heck?
What the heck?
Goodness, we had enough confusion when Rusty and you were on the same broadcast. That's why we had to separate you two. Now we actually have someone named Jake.
I thought that's why he got his hair dyed.
I'm called Spawn. He's called Jake.
And I'm Jake with a Y.
Yeah, you're Jake with a Y and you're Jake without a Y. That's how we differentiate you two, apparently. Enough semantics. We're about to get into the final game of today. Detonation FocusMe is taking on Ascension. It's the second game that we'll see DFM play today and the first match of this tournament for Ascension.
Now, here's where Ascension need to step up and show why they were regarded as the second best team coming into Rift Rivals. If they lose to DFM here, it actually cements LJL as probably going to be the #1 seed heading into the what I'm going to assume is the final relay sort of thing. I don't know how to phrase it.
I mean, you're also underestimating Sin here. I mean, you're assuming that all of a sudden Sin are going to lose.
Did you hear Shernfire?
Exactly right. They will try their best.
How can you say I'm underestimating them when you've said you have no faith in them?
Well, no, because I didn't give first seed to a team that just lost the first seed battle. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, it is really neck and neck right now at Rift Rivals. It's a very exciting game, day one to this tournament. And getting into this game, Detonation FocusMe, I feel, have all the trap cards laid out. Because, you know, do you respect the Ziggs? Like, at what point does it start drawing, you know, specific bans towards what Seros has played in the LJL? Because we know he has such a diverse champion pool. This will be incredibly interesting.
It's going to hurt me if they ban Ziggs.
It will hurt me as well, don't you worry.
I'd be okay with it. If you don't think you can deal with it, you have to do it. As much as it does hurt and as much as you look a bit silly, I'd rather look silly and win than lose to a Ziggs.
Do you think they've got, you know, what it takes to deal with a Zillion? You've got a Zillion player on your team?
Yeah, but I don't know if DFM plays Zillion.
Yeah,
Seros
is
Zillion main.
Then I hope he does it. I absolutely hope he does it.
Let's check in with Detonation FocusMe's lineup here before we get into this match. Up in the top lane, it is going to be Paz. Steel will be taken to the jungle with Seros in the mid lane, Yutapon as the AD carry, and Vivid, which is a light show here in Sydney, will be their support.
Yeah, and Paz had a fantastic game. As much as we were talking about, you know, Yutapon flashing for us, Seros having a fantastic game on the Ziggs. That Shen pick solidified all the early game moves this team wanted to make around Summoner's Rift, and I'm excited to see whether that is something that they also have a look at.
They showed great control and communication across the whole team with that Shen pick. That's like the key to a good Shen team.
Yeah, Shen being used quite effectively by them there. And again, we talked about every single Japanese team that's come into this tournament had some form of unorthodox picks. Maybe not so much with Rampage. Kog'Maw is still kind of meta. But
Rampage's a very standard team. Yeah. I feel like what you're going to get out of Rampage is, you know, an aggressive jungler, which is good in the current meta, and then two big carry threats and a lot of support that goes on around it. Evie can go both ways, can actually pick up carry top laners, and they play 1-4. They also play 1-3-1 a little bit. Yeah. I feel like they're actually a pretty standard team, Rampage. When I look at the other two LJL teams, I think that, you know, you have one team that is very about, as Jake was saying, good communication, good pocket picks, and then you have Unsold Stuff Gaming, still a classic name. Not only the best name in the tournament, but also the ability to play a very different tempo of League of Legends. They're very aggressive in the early game.
Yeah, we were able to see that from them earlier today. But for now, let's take a look at Detonation FocusMe's opponent's going to be Ascension Gaming from Thailand, the second seed team from the GPL. It's Renrin in the top lane, Nooney as their jungler, G4 as their mid laner, Lloyd will be the AD carry, and Warlock back in the support position for Ascension.
And Lloyd still keeps me up at night. I have nightmares about this guy and what he was able to do against the Chiefs duo lane, 1v2ing, carried them to a world performance. G4, of course, Zed, Yasuo, big assassin player. Warlock was their top laner back then. However, they lane swapped him to support. They say he's key to their communication, but he was a little bit of a letdown on the mechanic side, and I know that support is no longer a position on Summoner's Rift that you can have like a low mechanical player. There are just so many kill lanes running around at the moment that it is very dangerous to do that.
Can't be saying that with us on the desk.
That's what I said. I'm
I
complimenting
thought you were just pointing at me. That was a little brutal for a second.
We're both bad.
I was the first compliment of the night.
You can talk about yourself, not me.
This is great.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, finally.
All right, continue with what you want to say about Ascension.
I want to see them prove that they are the #2 team.
How do they do that?
Just show a solid game. Don't fall for traps like Ziggs. Don't fall for silly picks. Come out, show strong macro, perhaps even just snowball through 3 winning lanes like we're talking about how Direwolves want to play, how Gam want to play, and don't get worried about how other teams are going to sort of cheese you out.
So do you think they should just ban the Ziggs, like you were saying? Just like you think theirs should be confident enough to play standard?
The problem is, right, if you come into it and you have a plan to deal with the Ziggs and you're confident you can do it, leave it open. But if you think that you can deal with everything else they can throw at you, then there's no reason to not ban it.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if they do decide to go through that route. And another thing to touch on that is the fact that we already talked about this other day how the LGL teams are really relying on their second and third seed. You calm down. The second and third seed to pick up wins here today. So it's quite crucial for FocusMe to pick up a win if they want to be seeded into the finals.
Yeah, like I said before Jake wanted to roast me for calling LJL potentially coming first here.
Yeah, keep going, yeah.
They
Continue.
do need to get wins from their number 2 and number 3 spots, and that's why they're going to have to look to this game very heavily, but I don't really see it happening for them.
I mean, it certainly should be an interesting game. I mean, Detonation FocusMe are a team that I feel that as long as they are playing on the same page, as long as they're drafting towards their strategy and they have good communication, I mean, you can't really put a cap on a ceiling that plays as a unit that way. All it takes, and everyone knows this about League of Legends, a team fight at 20 minutes into the game into a Baron will cement you so many mid games that if you play 5v5 League of Legends like they do, then you are always a shot at winning the game. And the problem with people like Lloyd and G4 and Warlock is, yes, they are very good mechanical players, and they will throw the gauntlet in the 1v1. But if you do not communicate that well, if there is a jungle cheating towards your lane, if all of a sudden you go over-aggressive, you can give away as many advantages as you've picked up. And in group stages previously, when these guys were on Bangkok Titans, that is what we saw them do. Not respect picks like Twisted Fate, Talia is big in the meta. I mean, I think there are ways that you can shut this team down.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they're able to do just that. And speaking of the Bangkok Titans, currently in the local league in Thailand, they're sitting at top of the table, whereas Ascension, not even the #1 team in their league, yet alone the GPL. Whereas for the side of Detonation FocusMe, they're coming to this as second seed team, undefeated in the LGL at the moment.
And, you know, maybe we should do a little bit more of an explanation of what the GPL is. It isn't a domestic league, so everyone plays in their own domestic league.
Yep.
And then the top of those leagues go and compete in the GPL, which is the Garena Pro League. So that is all of the regions combined, you know, from the Philippines, from Singapore, from Thailand, from Vietnam. I'm forgetting one or two.
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia as well as Vietnam, that's right.
Yep.
And on top of that, Thailand and Vietnam, they get an extra seed, so they're seeded straight into the semifinals. The other 4 regions have to play in a group stage. So Ascension, they were seeded directly into the semis.
There's the Ziggs ban that you wanted to see.
I'm happy.
And right away, Ziggs ban coming out from Ascension. They don't want to deal with that. And 2 red side bans coming out from Det FocusMe. Callista, Elise, and Galio hit the bench. Zach for the side of Ascension. Let's see what their final ban's going to be.
And this just shows that DFM actually play kind of their own brand of League of Legends. We've already talked about the Ziggs picks as well as the Zillion. At the same time, they're happy to ban away very meta things on blue side. Blue side, you can be very choosy with your picks right now. You don't have to really get rid of the OPs, but they decide to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on. From watching their game against Legacy, they seem like a team that really focuses on playing their game and not giving in to any type of strategy that the enemy wants to do.
They're the LJL's legacy. I'm telling you, this works. They don't care about...
Is Steel going to get a redemption on Lee Sin, you reckon, this game?
I mean, I think he's going to go with Rek'Sai. Says that's what's been locked in for him, but potentially a redemption on Rek'Sai.
And that's another first pick, Rek'Sai, coming into this tournament. Very powerhouse pick. It was rising in popularity internationally when it did get the rework on the ultimate. But this is the first time we've really seen heavy focus on the champion.
I like that they first picked Rek'Sai, but at the same time, they're letting Thresh through, and I'm a huge fan of Thresh. I think that, you know, while the optimal answer is Tahm Kench, when you have to dedicate a champion whose only goal is stop someone from getting hooked, that's kind of a win for the team with Thresh because they can be proactive and you can't.
I mean, in saying that, we also saw it was very AD carry reliant because last game we had a Braum Caitlyn walk into a Thresh lane and absolutely take over. So I understand that for those that don't know the Goon running around in Oceanic solo queue and pro play, big fan of hooks on Q champions. So, you know, maybe take what he's saying with a grain of salt, but we've certainly seen counterplay at least a little bit in this tournament so far.
The hook could be on any letter. I'd still pick the champion.
I mean, he was on my Origin team. He had to substitute as a top laner once, and he still picked the champion with a hook on Q, Nautilus. That was the only champion he was running around and Summoner's Rift with. In the meantime, Gragas to be picked up by Ascension, and instantly locked in for Det FocusMe is going to be the Braum.
Like Spawn just said, they just answer with the Braum. Maybe they're going to do what happened before and just try and fight for lane dominance and just try and push him out and sort of lessen his utility on the map.
And there was some glare on my screen, so I didn't see that Caitlyn was banned, but they take the Nespes 80 carry bully in the Ashe going into that lane. I mean, it's got great gank assistance, fire and arrow into Thresh, of course, then no Lantern out coming from the 80 carry, no Callista to save him this game. get Steel in there, get Paz on a global again, there is still the ability to get 4 or 5 members down into this bottom lane and really swing the pace at which this game will be played.
Varus there was a really good answer. Detonation, FocusMe, they had the option to pinch the 80 carry pool even further. They've done it with the Kalista and the Caitlyn. The Kalista's like I think they banned the Kalista knowing that they were trading for the Thresh. They didn't want to go against that Kalista Thresh lane, which is very smart and good foresight from them.
Well, first ban in the second round of bans for Ascension will be Fiora, targeted at Paz, it seems. Immediately following through is going to be Cannon. We've seen this so much in second draft
I
so
mean,
far.
Cannon worldwide has got an atrocious win rate.
I don't think it has as much like dominance as people assume.
If your name is not Marin or start with R and N in Eklis, generally you don't really play all that much Cannon to great success. Stop throwing pens at me, Fish.
CLG played it this morning, 80 carry.
Did they? Stix they won with it, actually.
Yeah, they did win.
I've got to disagree with you, Spawn, because I know Swipe is a huge fan of Cannon top, and he might be a little angry that you've sort of forgotten him in that class of top laners.
The same level as Marin, right?
But I personally...
How did I forget that?
I personally hate playing versus Cannon. I think it's an absolute chore to deal with, even if it does have an atrocious win rate.
That's fair enough.
Well, the final ban from Detonation FocusMe is the Syndra Shen ban from Ascension. That's a pocket pick that most of the Japanese teams have shown they're able to use.
I mean, it certainly is, and it just gives a little bit more global pressure if Renren isn't really prepared to play against that. If he instead wants to go into a very heavy brawler matchup by getting rid of the Fiora, by getting rid of the Shen, that's pretty much what you guarantee. You know, the likes of Renekton, the likes of Kled, the likes of Jarvan going to be left available, and they take the cream of the crop of those picks now with Renekton.
Yeah, let's see what they look to counter with. A lot of people have started picking Gnar into it. Obviously, they're looking at Corki here. Very safe, blindable mid laner.
Mordekaiser has also, in the LCK team, picked into Renekton.
Akali, we can stretch it even more.
I mean, Akali was picked into Kled.
Was it?
Wasn't picked into Renekton. Okay. So, apparently Akali, good matchup into Kled. Mord, actually, I'm a big fan of
I've heard it's not even that good of a matchup. It just can, you know, kind of go even, like stall out Renekton's early game pressure.
I'm surprised you're willing to give anything credit against Renekton, given how highly you guys value it over at Avant. Yeah. Very, very just interesting. But they answer with Jarvan.
Yeah, that's the lock-in of choice for Detonation FocusMe. I've been told that this is not a great lane matchup for Jarvan.
I mean, it depends who you speak to. It really depends who you speak to.
I think Jarvan's one of these picks, like when people pick the Kled, when they look to pick the Shen, which has obviously been banned away, they're looking to get out of... They're looking to get out of the lane. Jarvan's obviously he's really good at teleporting and engaging from long distances.
FocusMe have a standard team comp. I never thought I'd see the light of day. And on the flip side, Ascension go for the Orianna lock-in. G4, when he's not an assassin, loves to be on this control mage.
Both pretty standard comps. It's interesting to see out of today.
Yeah, I mean, and the big thing for me is the fact that there were so many assassin picks left mid lane, and you know, if you had a blinded an 80 carry into G4 historically, I mean, he would not have been far behind with a Yasuo or a Zed lock-in Fish. And, you know, things like Echo that he's played to great success as well, still available, but instead goes for a very standard comp. Probably felt like they needed a little bit more wave clear coming out of it. And I think that as far as team fights go, they're pretty even here.
Well, like T-Gun said, you know, if they're confident with their gameplay, they banned out the Ziggs. They don't want to deal with anything cheesy. They're fine with dealing with anything else.
I've got to be honest here. I really appreciate this from Ascension. I think that being able to swallow that pill and just know that banning the Ziggs is the optimal choice takes a lot out of a team. It takes a lot of just hubris to just step back and say, we need to do this.
I mean, it does. I agree with that. However, I do think that there are answers for it, and there's a reason he's not in the current
absolutely.
Meta. You've got to watch a whole game of it, giving over Corki, who right now is a very blind pickable early, late, mid, like at all parts of the game, incredibly strong. They've now put themselves in a situation where if this mid lane matchup goes wrong, they have a free lane matchup that they've given over.
So where are we really looking at when it comes to this game? Because both teams, as we mentioned, very similar team compositions. There's intricate differences, but it seems like they want to do the exact same thing. So where's this big pivot point?
Like we've seen in the last game, I think it's slightly just coming out of the early game where Corki's able to set up the 1-3-1 like Fantix did at last game. And we saw that Orianna really isn't able to match the Corki in that side lane pressure. And when she rotates up, Corki can rotate back down with a package and look to siege.
So let's see how this one goes. Tegan, any final thoughts before we get into this game? between Detonation, FocusMe, as well as Ascension.
I think the most important part is going to be the jungles and wherever they want to prioritize. If Renekton gets ahead due to gank pressure, due to dive pressure, whatever they do to do it, I don't see a way for Detonation FM to really stop the Renekton from just outscaling.
Yep. Well, for now, we're going to kick Jake with a Y off the desk. Jake Spontaberry here said there was one too many, and he could not
That
have
is
two in
absolutely
this cast.
false. I actually said if you want to cast with the 2 pro players, you are more than welcome to, my friend.
Don't believe in 1 second, but we are on to Summoner's Rift for Ascension taking on Detonation. FocusMe. DFM's second game today, and we've already mentioned time and time again, the LGL really seem to be trying to pick up wins with their second and third seed teams just based on how evenly stacked this league is on the top side of the table, whereas Ascension, yet to see them play. They aren't top of their table at the moment in the tied league, but they did finish second in the GPL.
That's an interesting setup from DFM, just sort of leaving Paz alone on the top side in their fan and really prioritizing bot side pressure. I think their main goal is make sure that Ascension can't come in and do anything to the Wraiths, where I assume Steel is going to start.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. I also wonder if this is the time for the Super Leash, because you've got AoE that comes out of Corki as well as Corki as well as the Rek'Sai, and then you can pull red buff. It doesn't look like that's the case. The reason that you can do that with Braum is Braum actually takes very little damage from red buff.
Absolutely.
He can stun it up, he uses the Q, you can kite it around when it's slowed up. Actually a very good person on doing that extended leash with, and they do it actually. I just can't see the map apparently.
Yeah, you can also get the Q leash from Corki as well to really speed everything up, so it's perfect opportunity for them to do it.
Actually skips the big Wraith though. That's not how you do this leash.
Hello.
Now your Wraith is actually just going to be on big cooldown.
So he picks up the quick level 2 straight to red buff.
I mean, this has to be a topside cheese. He has to be going from Wolves into like Scuttle Crab into like flash onto Renren's head and hope that he hasn't skilled E second. That is... What else do you do here?
I mean, even if he skills E second, with Jarvan and Rek'Sai, you still have a lot of kill threat there. So if it is that cheese that you're talking about, there's still potential.
He is level 3 at the moment, so let's see what Steel can do. Meanwhile, Nooney is level 2 at the moment on his Gragas and bottom side of the map.
I mean, this is the best start that you can get on Rek'Sai, apart from taking your own big vector. I mean, that's second best start that you can get on Rek'Sai. And you can see that the ping actually comes out into the top lane. Paz has done the right thing, allowed Renekton to push into him. Renekton thinks he's bullying this lane right now and has a good ward out. However, that is not the case. Please show me the Rek'Sai. Good trading coming out in the mid lane.
Steel looking for that gank right behind the Renekton. Should have double dice available for Renren. There goes Paz. Gets the knock up. Renekton already at half health and knocked up by the Rek'Sai as well. He tries to double dash away, but still first blood picked up by Steel.
And you just have to compliment Detonation FocusMe. They knew where the bully lane was. We said that it can go either way. All of a sudden, Renren, with an atrocious shot, has had to go back to base. He's going to come back to lane with a teleport and only a longsword.
Ooh.
And that kill going over to Steel means that you can get an early jungle item and just repeat that over and over again.
Yep.
If there's one saving grace for Renren, is that he didn't burn his flash. So if they do indeed repeat gank, there's still the potential for him to escape and sort of mitigate the damage that's going to be done.
But the way he's pushing back in, I mean, you're ever the optimist, and I agree that when you lose something, oh, another gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, looking to try and knock up Orianna here. G4 should be forced to flash away. Good damage from Saros. Uses the heal. Flash forward. Final auto attack goes through, and Steel gets the second kill of the game for his Destination FocusMe.
And we complimented top lane Renren on actually not flashing and knowing when he was dead. That is an opportunity where you flash early. You get out of the damage range. You stay in the lane. Instead, G4 sticks around. He's a very greedy man, and he is made to pay.
Yep. That's just a mistake you don't need to make. We saw people do it earlier. We criticized them. That's why we're criticizing G4 here. That's not a mistake you're allowed to make, especially on an international stage such as this.
And especially when you're coming in as the second best team in the whole of Rift Rivals for this little pod here, Fish. I mean, they were certainly hyped up by the Southeast Asian fan, and already at 4 minutes, 2 kills down, every lane put at a disadvantage. This is going to be a difficult early game.
Oh, they're looking for a fight bottom lane as well. Warlock almost getting locked down Winter's Bike. Doesn't connect with the hook there.
Vivid.
Juke shoes from Vivid. And again, Detonation FocusMe showing why currently in the LJL they are top of the table.
And
undefeated.
they're still going. They just continually tag up, and that was just a little bit too early out of Steel. Actually spots out Nooney as well. So really nice pathing out of both junglers, crashing on the bottom side.
Yep, so everywhere on the map at the moment in favor of Detonation FocusMe. Even the bottom lane with a small CS advantage.
5-minute Tiamat boots rush.
Ooh.
What an awesome shot. As a Rek'Sai, if if this is any game, you're like, I can now carry as Rek'Sai. This is the one game where you are forgiven for going like Tiamat into Warriors and just trying to carry.
I think you almost have to. Otherwise, you're just sort of throwing away those 2 kills to build tanky stuff that doesn't really help you dive people and get aggressive really early on. So I think it's the right items. He just needs to keep up the pressure that he's had so far.
Jarvan's now going to head back to base. You can see even though he has the advantage shop, Renren still trades quite well into him.
But didn't burn the teleport fish. So all of a sudden, we say that had an advantage, but now doesn't burn any experience, goes back, gets a Tiamat, full corrupting potion charges. So now he's going to push into Renren over and over again. And needs to be careful about this gank, however.
And I talked to Pabu from the Oceanic Pro League about this matchup. Hang on, let's take a look at this gank quickly. Renren double dashes in. He's going to get knocked up by Paz.
Ultimate
Paz is
is
standing and
available.
delivering. Still takes quite a bit of damage. Cataclysm comes down. Renren's forced to flash away. Now Nooney's in trouble. Look at this. Steals on the top side of the map. Is he going to get the 3rd? He gets his 3rd kill in this match.
And a second time a member of Ascension do not burn Flash early enough. If you are stuck in that Cataclysm, you know that he's fighting because the jungler is on his way. Get out of the Cataclysm. Get back to the turret. Doesn't do a T-gun, and he dies.
And now he's getting zoned off turrets as well.
That's just poor communication from Ascension. They should have known that Jarvan was that close to level 6.
Steel's gonna
You
kill
as a
mid lane.
laner know that.
No flash available for Rek'Sai, but he's pathing straight towards G4. Ultimate available for the Orianna.
That's pushing away from G4.
Yeah, he's going to have to step up.
That looks like it's a pretty even wave. And you can see that he's just completely zoned off it.
But Rek'Sai has gone back to base, so still not looking for that gank, but still, my goodness, that is quite a zone set up by Seros so far.
So it will slowly push into him. I mean, you can see that even though it was neutral, it was actually pushing into G4. So he will be able to grab the next wave as it crashes in. But still, big CS advantage in top lane. 3 kills now over onto the jungle. He's a full Tiamat ahead, just for reference. That's 1,200 gold at this stage of the game. And then CS advantages everywhere else. Credit to DFM. They look like a really good team at this stage.
I would love to see Steel start pathing bot because Ashe is almost level 6. And once Ashe hits level 6, that's essentially 3 kills down in the bot lane, or as close as you can get.
And it looks like they're going to do that because they've started the sweep together. And I love when jungle and supports team up and they're going to sweep the whole river. They're going to go into jungle. They're going to get the deep vision over Wolf Camp, as you can see on your map. And that means that at any stage, they know exactly where Nooney is, and if Nooney makes a wrong step here, his bottom lane dies.
They were just pinging exactly where Thresh is without even having wards on him. That's really smart from, I assume, Vivid, who would be tracking him on his recall to try and anticipate where he goes so they know where they can safely walk in and apply that ward pressure.
Big play actually coming in, though, because Paz doesn't have his teleport.
Yep, Ascension are going to try and lock them down. Ultimate used by Lloyd will lock up Steel. He has a bounty on his head, so a kill onto this Rek'Sai is definitely going to be good for Ascension. They've trapped him. He's stuck between 2 turrets and 4 members of Ascension, but that's a lot used to take down a Rek'Sai.
All things considered, just losing a Rek'Sai for a teleport and everything that Ascension committed, not the end of the world. Yes, it's a shutdown, and yes, it's Detonation FM's strongest member, but Vivid got out of that somehow.
Yep. I mean, when you have a look at it, they also traded blue buff away from Orianna, who's already in a pretty painful lane, and they gave red buff over to Jarvan. So even though Renren has double buff at the moment, he's down 2 levels, he's down in an item spike, and he's going to lose a lot of a big wave to a turret. Yep. I mean, as you said, I mean, it was a big commitment. They got what they were looking for. They would have wanted a second kill on top of that. Probably not enough to claw them back into the game, but a good proactive play.
And they've set up top lane and mid lane outer for knocking down later on this match. Already below half health, so 2 structures that could be easily sieged by Detonation FocusMe. And let's see how they use that later on in the game. Just checking with items really quickly. Blade of the Rune King picked up by both AD carries, so both moving towards a Bilgewater Cutlass picked up already. Both moving towards Blade of the Rune King later on in the match.
And you can see that Nooney actually walked over the pink ward, and because he didn't expect it to be there, sorry, control ward, doesn't sweep it out. So much information obtained on this topside jungle just from 2 wards, and their whole jungle for Nooney right now is lit up like a Christmas tree. Thank God he's playing Santa Gragas and is probably used to this environment, T-Gun, coming down the chimneys every now and again. But anywhere he goes, every step he takes, every move he's made, they are watching him right now.
Oh my gosh.
You made fun of me for my puns.
I can't even comment. All I'll comment on is Seros roaming down here. I think he could have went in there, just on his own.
Pulled the trigger. He decides not to. Now Ascension are moving back towards their bottom lane outer turret to defend that.
You can see what they're doing is they're looking for denial of CS. They're looking for those small victories that they were able to take in game 1 and looking just for a good mid-game to be set up. That's 3 control wards topside now.
They're also building a TP advantage to try and dive bottom as well. The second that this tower goes down and Paz can get either to recall or into a bush, they will most likely try and TP in behind, get Seros to roam down, and take that advantage to the bottom lane.
And they try to call for a play bottom side as well. You can see Nuni was making or wrapping around the bottom lane, but Yutapon as well as Vivid back off towards their turret to be a little bit safer.
G4, I just have to hit on something, and it's really tiny, but it's a trait that I like to see in people. This is what Cool used to do as well in the LPL. If you killed him early, you'd go back and he would buy a Dark Seal. Or back then, it was like the Majia's pickup. The idea behind it, you've already killed me once. I'm confident in my abilities. That is the last time I die this game. You know, you got the free one. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to eventually buy a Majia's and kill your whole team. It's one of those plays that some players that are confidence players will just do things like that. And it's really quirky. It's really exciting. And we'll see whether it works out as the game progresses.
Yeah, he's currently only got 1 stack on that Dark Seal. Let's see if he's able to get more later on.
For now, Fish.
For now. But Riftail's being popped mid lane. This has been the arch nemesis of Oriana's around the world.
Certainly has single-handedly forced her out of the meta. However, stops the charge. Here we go. Charge number 2. That's going to go through.
Oof, that's going to deal quite a bit of damage there. Now turret almost taken down. 1 more auto attack is going to be enough. Seros not ducking into range. It will be the Riftail that takes it down eventually.
I mean, 2 turrets already, 3,000 gold. Sure, they gave over the Fire Drake, which is probably the worst Drake to give over to things like Renekton and Oriana at this stage of the game. But they're just trusting that the scaling will never come through because from now on, they will control that bottom side of the map.
Oh, they also was a Cloud Drake. I'm pretty sure it was a Cloud Drake as well.
Was it?
Look, he's got the...
He does have it, so it has to be a Cloud Drake. So, you know, I've been trolled by the graphics guys.
They just wanted to see if we were on our game, and Fish luckily was.
Yeah.
Always
Don't know what
watching.
you were doing over here.
I was watching Jarvan. I wanted
Every
to see
step
him
they
TP.
take, I'm watching them, Tegan, just like Spawn said.
Oh, gosh.
Renren's still farming
I
topside the
retract my compliment.
map. He's not going for the Tiamat build on Renekton, instead building the components for his Black Cleaver first.
I mean, Renekton has the flexibility to be able to do that. Black Cleaver is certainly a better 1v1 dueling item, and he has Wave Clear already built into his kit in the form of the Q. So not a big deal.
While we're on the topic of items, I want to touch on Ash's items. Her going Blade first, while not uncommon, shows you the sort of priority they have on their AD carry. They expect him to deal damage. They expect him to be just another damage threat as opposed to an arrow bot.
Good Dark Passage gets Lloyd back to safety away from the Ash Arrow. That was clutch coming out from Warlock and Lloyd. Steel is down in this bottom lane, but with both ultimates burnt by Braum and Ash, doesn't look like they can re-engage.
And I think they should have held those ultimates because even though it was a good attempt at the play, they have Seros with wave priority mid lane. They have a TP advantage and a shoved in lane top. Although now G4 is in some big trouble.
He's forced to flash follow from Steel, pops the ultimate on himself, but look at that, Rek'Sai ultimate, dodging the ultimate from Oriana. Big play from Destination FocusMe.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it certainly was. They used Paz's teleport, however, and you can see that Renren actually cancelled his. However, now caught out in the jungle.
He's popped Dominus, Slice, and dices away, but Paz locks him down with the ultimate flag drag. There is a Dark Passage there for safety. In fact, Paz flashes away from Nuni's body slam out of respect there.
A lot of people have rotated towards the top side of the map, however, and all of a sudden, Yutapon has been able to shove another wave in, and Lloyd is going to be here by himself. They don't capitalize, no ultimates available. Bet you I wish they had a Braum ultimate and an Ash arrow to be able to punish that rotation, Tegan.
Absolutely, but I wouldn't even criticize using it before. Yes, they could have held it for later opportunities. I would criticize the way they tried to chain them together. The Ash ult just came out plumb late, so they didn't even get damage on them.
Remember, it's still stuck on the top side of the map. Just components of his Black Cleaver at the moment, where it's a fully completed Black Cleaver for the side of Paz. With Tiamat to boot.
I wish we could just see vision from DFM's view, because they have some incredible wards out right now. We just saw Renren clear one on the top side, but if you look at the map, they just have vision deep in Ascension's jungle everywhere, and complete vision in the bot side lane as well.
And what they're looking for, because they have two sides of the map that are winning, is they're just looking for Nuni's entry points into his jungle. Where is he basing? Where is he deploying to? That way, Steel can attack the opposite side of the map. Is a full Tiamat over a Tiamat, so 1,600 gold now over his opponent is Steel. And even though Nuni has done a good job of farming, 2 levels behind, and they're going to look for another gank here onto Renren.
They're attacking him again. Steel jumps over the wall. Renren I believe he just used his Slice and Dice as well. Not going to be available. No Cataclysm for Paz. And that will come back up, so he's able to get back to safety.
But you can see they have the entry points to the jungle watered. So as soon as 3 members are moving through the jungle, they're like, okay, that's a free bottom lane turret. Let's leave this play where it belongs. We've already pressured him off the wave. Now we can just chip away at structures. And DFM are showing that their control of like vision and macro and ability to trade objectives is really impressive at this stage.
Certainly is.
I'd be surprised if they don't go for second bot lane right here. They could easily dive this Orianna. They know she doesn't have summoners. They have package on Zeros. I don't really see a reason to not dive.
Yeah, I mean, they also have all the priority through the jungle. You can see that now members are trying to head across. Good control ward spots them out, so instead they just take the low-risk play. And this is what we keep on seeing, is that they will arrow come out, flash. Lloyd had to flash the wall.
That's, yep, we're going to chase that arrow.
Somewhere that arrow hit Blinky.
Oh my god.
We're not on the OPL, Jake. This is Rift Rivals.
Jake's 80 carry has just been absolutely nailed somewhere in the western suburbs of Sydney.
I believe he just got nailed on broadcast.
You're absolutely brutal. That's not fair. He has a family, Jake. He's not here to defend himself. He's got his support here. He'll come back and beat you up.
Back to the game. It was a good flash by Varus. I was about to criticize DFM for being a little indecisive and not pulling the trigger like I thought they should have on Orianna, but then they go ahead, pull it mid, and burn a valuable summoner.
And now all of a sudden, big stack has come up. However, Collapse is available. You can see Corky's wave clear, although Nerf still more than enough to force that out.
No Ashe, though, who was still pushing in bottom lane.
I mean, you have to think that Udapon has a big shop at this stage of the game. It's been sitting on those components for quite some time. Took down a turret. Along with the help of Vivid.
30 CS up as well against Lloyd.
And Lloyd's a good AD carry.
Yeah, but so far Ascension not impressing against Detonation FocusMe, who have been dominant in their games played today.
And this is why it's so exciting to watch teams like the Oceanic Pro League, like LJL, and like the GPL teams come together, because we've seen vastly inconsistent international performance from all of them.
Yep.
And we want to know how deep the regions go and how they stack up against each other. And so far, day one of Rift Rivals has delivered on that to a T. I mean, we've seen the LJL teams pick up a couple of good victories, but then drop a game against Oceania, who we thought would be the clear underdogs coming into this. Gigabyte Marines still look to be top of their game, but 2 and 3 seeds from the GPL, now looking to be a little bit underwhelming. When we see Sim play tomorrow, I mean, this is just going to be exciting League of Legends.
I think the biggest takeaway is all of the predictions, as much as you want to rate the pundits and say the analysis is great, have been quite far off in key spots, like right here. Everyone expected Ascension to just be incredible comparatively to most teams, and here they are looking pretty shocking against DFM. That could be 2 things, right? And I want to give it to DFM. I want to say it's just because they're playing extremely well, not because Ascension are underplaying.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find that out tomorrow, right? When Legacy go up against Ascension, and we get to see a team that DFM also played incredibly well against, but Legacy at least had moments during that game where they looked like they could win fights. Then we'll definitely know where these teams stack up.
Just listen to what the LJL casters had to say about the league itself. It's nothing for 20 minutes and then explosive actions. We're not even at 20 minutes, and DFM have done so much in this game.
I mean, Steel did a lot. Oh, Flash actually burnt out there.
And Heal, now they're just piling on in. Look at this. Nooney's the first to fall. Ultimate used onto G4. He's going to have to use the Dark Patch to get away. Good dodge of the arrow and great flay onto Seal to get him away. There's the ultimate burnt by Orianna, trying to lock him down. Flash forward from Renner. He's popped the Dominus as well. Lloyd really far up, trying to kite back. Paz in trouble. Good kill onto Saras coming out from Ascension's AD carry. And they're still chasing down the rest of their members.
And just as we're singing their praise, they make a mistake. They got 1 kill. They should have been content with it, but they're still going.
Good flay from Warlock. It's going to be Duke's shoes come out from Unipon, but it doesn't matter. G4 picks up a kill. Suddenly they're still diving into the back lines. Rek'Sai jumps in. Seal looks for it. So many low health bars. Paz gets 1 for his team. Still chasing the rest. At the end of the day, though, it's a bad trade for Detonation FocusMe.
Certainly is. It's a 2 for 3, and all of a sudden Ascension show that individual prowess, show that they can go a man down, but still turn a team fight. Good mechanics shown from Warlock. Nooney was there for a lot of it. Comes back in.
Gets his red buff.
Yeah, I was going to say Nooney was dead for a lot of it. Let's take another look at that play here, T-Gun.
This is a really, really good Cataclysm by Paz. They blow up Nooney. I've never seen a Gragas die that fast. They miss the arrow, they miss a bit of engage, but here is where I think DFM sort of overstay their welcome. Ascension already blew a lot of resources, so I can see why they would think to go back in, but there's no need to engage here. You're not gaining an objective, you're not doing anything really important, so why are you staying? You need to commit to leaving.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing there was Paz kind of baited his team. He said, I have a 3-man knockup, we can fight on the back end of this. However, that's not the way it worked out. You can see that he was recalling, wanted to teleport back into the play. However, Steel goes aggressive. And even though that is a good flag and drag to, secure a second kill, this fight had already gone on for far too long.
I'm also going to criticize Udapon here a little bit, and this is nitpicky, but he had flash up when all of Ascension's health bars are low. Flash in, be aggressive, take matters into your own hands, and turn that fight around, because I think there was points in that fight where he could have done the aggressive thing.
Well, Japanese AD carries are known to be really aggressive in their playstyle, especially with their use of Flash. Udapon going against that there, Tegan. Have to see if he's able to do it later on in the match, but still, Detonation FocusMe sitting on just under 5,000 gold up over Ascension in a very comfortable spot 21 minutes in.
But a lot of where it's manifesting itself right now is in the jungle through, the big AD items that have been picked up. Nooney's still going to get towards tanky stats, has made up the experience deficit. Catch-up mechanics in the jungle are very strong at the moment. And in that top lane, where all of a sudden Renrin has also caught up. He's only 1 level behind now and is actually on a killing spree. So for what were the strong parts of the map, DFM are actually starting to lose contact with this game.
Another scrappy fight here inside the red side of jungle on Ascension's side. Warlock incredibly low. Vivid picks up that first
great cast.
Saw a good cast, good shockwave as well. Udapon said it is. Support follows shortly after. Steel can't do too much. Paz is trying to 1v1 Lloyd in the back lines, but it's the Varus that got the upper hand. Nooney jumps on in. Paz is trying to fight from a distance, gets a big shield from his W. Seal is trying to cut him off to make sure he stays safe. And again, sloppy fight for Detonation FocusMe.
Can someone check if Udapon has flash bound to his ability bars? Because that's another fight where he has flash up, could be using it to do aggressive things or defensive things even, and he's just dead.
And that is an example where a single-man shockwave should have lost you the team fight, because G4 only hit Udapon right there, and that should have been flash. Should have been a wasted massive cooldown on a level 13 Orianna. Instead, it comes through, and even though G4 died greedily in the early game, he's now got a 6-stack Dark Sealfish. Game's starting to turn around. Goes back, has 2 items, and that's a weird item build coming out of Seros.
Yeah, Seros has picked up his
Haunting Guide.
BF sword and Haunting Guides. Rusty would be proud somewhere in Sydney, but I don't know about this build. Lots of magic penetration?
My main problem right now, especially after a fight like that, is DFM are quite far ahead, and they're struggling versus an Orianna who just hit a 1-man shockwave.
Yeah.
That's only going to get more and more threatening as this game goes on from G4. You can't really expect him to whiff, for the lack of a better term, that many shockwaves, especially going on into the 30, 40 minute marks.
And I think the big thing for me is that even though they've got a 4,000 gold lead, a portion of that gold right now is kind of useless. Corki, not really known for building magic penetration at this stage of the game. Generally, you sit on your boots. That should be a Zeal item picked up now.
He's even got a BF sword. You don't even see that. Trinity Force into Infinity Edge, it used to be something that was good on Corki. Not as good anymore. Just strange in general.
One more compliment for DFM is the fact that they have had such good vision control and priority in lanes. They've just been getting these dragons recently for free. I don't know if that's a conscious decision by Ascension to say, you know what, we don't need to contest these, or they just can't. But either way, DFM coming away with a second Mountain Drake, Baron is now a very real, very quick threat from them.
And the other thing is, even though they've given up team fights, they are giving them up so far into Ascension's jungle with lanes pushing that Ascension's not really getting anything off them. When DFM are getting picks, they're transitioning it into turrets. They're making sure the lane is map is being pressured. Right now, when Ascension get fights, it's just a couple of kills and relief off the map.
It could even be just overreaches for DFM, always fighting in the jungle like you're saying, because they're trying to force the issue so far, and they know that if they do lose the fights, they're not really losing major objectives. They still have all their towers up.
But at the same time, Renrin is back in the game, is completely even in items fish. In fact, his upper door and shield. And as the game progresses, we keep hitting on it, but gone are the days where Renekton is kind of a nuisance, but not really a threat. He is very threatening at this stage with the HP stacking build that comes out. Of course, you have the Orianna to help supplement everything he's going to be looking to do on the back line. So DFM, all of a sudden, what should have been a very convincing victory, has got back to kind of a 50-50 one-team fight game.
People used to use the excuse that it's okay, Renekton falls off late. Let me tell you right now, he does not fall off late with this new AD builds that he uses. He's still going to be a threat at level 18 at 6 items. You can't just stall out the game and count on that to sort of get back into it.
I mean, he becomes utility based as well once he's able to pick up the locket after the gargoyles.
If he goes for it, I mean, I think the gargoyles into GA is actually the best item at the moment, especially given if you're playing against something like Caitlyn, sure, it's hard to get to her. Ashe, as soon as G4 burns the flash, should be a sitting duck for this Renekton. So we'll see whether that is the case and how this continues to work out.
Especially with no Mikhails on Thresh, and I doubt he's ever going to head that way.
Yep.
So Saros' build is confusing me even further because he's decided not to upgrade into a Leandry's Torment, which makes more sense for the poke on Corki, and is rushing the rest of his Infinity Edge next. And that Horny Guys is purely for magic penetration?
Maybe he heard us criticizing him and decided to just steer off.
Good flash, but it still connects. He's going to get locked down, but will come out of that stun shortly after, able to fight again. Both teleports being used. Ascension look like they just want to back out.
Yeah, both of them cancelled as well. So whilst it was a good ulti to burn a flash, Vivitz was a little bit slow on the trigger, allowed a lot more gap. Oh, Paz. Good dodge. Had a bit of a heart attack there for the top laner of Detonation FocusMe. I'm okay.
Are they rushing Baron now? Double Mountain Dragon, as Tegan's mentioned earlier, means Detonation FocusMe take this really quick, and Blazing King is alive. Oh, sorry, alive. Available for Ashe. So no, they peel off. I'm looking for a fight next. There's the ball from Orianna. Steal, really low, still jumping on in. Gets taken down immediately off of the back of this fight, but Lloyd tries to stand and deliver against Unipon. That's not going to work. G4 connects with a two-man shockwave, but even that's not enough. Warlock trying to run away from Paz. Not going to happen. Flying and drag straight on top of the Thresh, picking up another kill, and that's an ace picked up by Detonation FocusMe.
And that's what Dead FM have been looking for the last 10 minutes of fights in the jungle, to constantly fish for the same thing. And like I said, once they got 2 Mountain Drakes, Baron is so much of a threat that Ascension have to overcommit, have to get really deep in to make sure they can defend it. They thought they caught steal, but it didn't matter because the rest of Dead FM can just steamroll over you.
And what happened is Paz got access to that backline. So even though they pick up steal, all of a sudden G4 Lloyd, they were running for their lives. Lloyd went downwards and was kind of caught in no man's land. And if we just have a look at this Jarvan, flies onto Lloyd, so all of a sudden hitting 80 carry, double knock up onto 80 carry onto mid laner, absolutely taking over this fight. So Seal honestly did nothing. Paz, MVP of that team fight, made sure that all the threats were occupied and there was nothing that the Ascension lineup could do.
I'm going to say Steel did one thing, and that was looked like he had no idea what he was doing, so Ascension would overcommit on him, then his team could clean up the fight.
What he did was he had no idea what he was doing, and it worked apparently for Detonation.
Haven't you ever heard the phrase that if you don't know what you're doing, how can the enemy anticipate what you're doing?
Yeah, I have another one. Never argue with an idiot. They will bring you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Wow.
I'm not talking about fish. I was just saying that's my saying.
All right.
I promise not to argue with Spawn, don't worry. Meanwhile, Detonation FocusMe are moving towards top side of the map, looking to try and push down that top lane inner turret. They still have Baron buff to work with and a 10,000 gold lead behind them.
This one's getting away from Ascension.
I mean, just as it looked like they were pegging it back as well, they were starting to pick up a couple of sneaky kills. Renekton looked like he was able to deal with a split push. Now Paz goes back, has a complete Gargoyle Stone Plate, and they've got Baron as well as 3 lanes that look like they're pushing in. They're going to actually dive Renren, it looks like.
I will say, once it gets to the inhib towers, it will be really difficult for Dead FM to push through an Orianna, because once the ball is just sort of sitting in the middle of the choke, it's really difficult to hit the tower.
Well, they're just brute forcing their way through bottom lane inhibitor turret. Doesn't look like there's anything Renren can do. Nuni incredibly low. As you mentioned, Lloyd had to use his flash right there. So they break the inhibitor turret bottom lane and pile in to try and take this inhibitor down.
That's a great way to beat an Orianna, is just do stuff when she's not there.
Well, let's see if they're going to continue doing that, because now G4 is right in amongst it. Paz, close to the back lines, gets knocked down by Renren. Instead, Flag and drags out. They got what they came for, which is the inhibitor. Now they focus on the next objective.
And the Baron inhibitor at that, all of a sudden, even if they don't win off that push, they're always going to have that bottom creep wave crashing in. Renren's going to have to deal with it. And Paz, at this stage, given the 2 level advantage, is certainly going to be more than his match.
I just want to see them all recall now. Take that advantage, take the level advantage, take the EXP advantage. Don't worry too much about clearing the jungle like they did. Reset as a team and go to the other side. You don't need this extra Mountain Drake. It's basically redundancy for you at this point. go back to top lane and siege with the remainder of your Baron, instead of giving Ascension a bit of time to breathe, a bit of time to regroup and figure out what they need to do.
The items feel devastating at the moment for Detonation FocusMe. I mean, you've got Locker Redemption on their support, double Stoneplate picked up by a top laner and jungler. Corki's hit his item power spikes. I mean, ignoring that Horning guys, kind of. And Ash also hitting her power spikes as well.
The later the game goes, the better Horning guys becomes, because we've theorized, like, what is the right penetration item to go on Corki? It's definitely not Last Whisper. Is it Void Staff? Do you even really go it? Or do you just go continue, like, Energizer build and hope that you're hitting the targets that don't have magic resistant? Given the fact that there isn't all that much magic resistant built up, flat magic resistant is better than the percentage at this stage of the game. So right now, Seros is actually incredibly strong.
Let's see if he's going to use it to great effect here as the mid laner for
I don't like that he's strong with a Horning, guys. I want to really echo that point, but it isn't a bad purchase at this stage.
These turrets fall down incredibly quick. The triple Mountain Dragon has been picked up by Dead FM. Good hook landing on towards Paz. It's going to take quite a bit of poke damage from Ascension.
Yeah, not willing to commit because they think a team fight is just around the corner. You can see that Dead FM are continuing the push in the mid lane. Otherwise, you would have thought that maybe that would be a member that Rampage was able to find against Direwolves last game, where they can blow up a member and stall out the push.
This turret seems to be the objective of choice for Detonation FocusMe. Paz is still top side against Renren.
One thing that gets me is when I look at these two teams, I would expect Detonation FM to be the one poking out the opposite team, but Ascension time and time again just keep chunking someone to half health.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of Orianna at this stage of the game, I think it's fair to say. One combo, Shockwave on top of it at level 16 is going to give even the tanks a little bit of a problem. We'll see whether they hard commit onto Orianna or whether they just continue to funnel farm into the base.
Poke coming out from Saris is quite devastating at the moment.
Very far up.
He has flash, so I think he's
really flirting with them to engage on him and then look for the big Shockwave.
Yeah.
Paz, meanwhile, walking super minions in towards the base. We have Steel and Saros poking away at top lane and inhibitor turret, so attacking two fronts at the moment. Noonie, hello.
Has presence in the lane.
Body slams.
Get it? Because he's Santa Gragas? Oh, come on.
Oh, no.
This is a great example of Orianna zoning out people. I'm just ignoring it, by the way. Of Orianna zoning people out on towers.
One rocket and Noonie is close to half health. Saros melts people at the moment. And look at this. Detonation FocusMe just attacking every single point of Ascension's base. G4 forcing it a Dark Patches back to safety. Paz doesn't take too much damage from Lloyd at the moment. This mid lane inhibitor turret almost down. A couple more orders from Udapon will be enough, and he gets it.
I really don't like that he took that Dark Passage. He didn't need to, and it just gave up the tower.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're going to break on all fronts because they're trying to defend the base turret. Mid lane inhibitor goes down. Top lane turret is just behind it. And this could potentially be the game right now. You can see Ascension, they're starting to get real nervous.
They have to put up a fight somewhere. And this is
they don't actually technically have to do that.
They lose then.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think they want to lose here, Spawn. So let's see if they go for a fight instead. They just concede every single inhibitor. That's going to be double super minions charging in towards their base.
And that means they probably give up the next Baron. And with 3 inhibitors down, Baron respawning in 50 seconds, a big shot coming out of everyone, that generally spells the end of the game.
As much as you do want to concede things, you have to find a point to say, we have to fight here. And I think that point was that 3rd inhibitor, but they let it go.
Yeah, you have to ride out with him. You have to meet the charge. You have to hope that there's Gandalf on the hill somewhere. And that Helm's Deep won't fall. But instead, Helm's Deep is in absolute ruins. I mean, it has had its front door kicked in. It is not having a good time at all. And we'll see whether, I mean, bottom inhibitor shouldn't be too far away from coming back up, but 2 inhibitors is still generally enough to keep you off a Baron buff.
Yeah, it's like, even if bot inhib does come back up, the Baron's a foregone conclusion. 3 Mountain Drakes, as long as you have Jarvan over the wall to protect from Gragas trying to come in and steal, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
what is the pickaxe building into? I mean, pickaxe at the moment builds into, I think, Death Stance, which useless on Corgi because he does 80% magic damage. Ravenous Hydra, and Infinity Edge.
What are you doing, Saros?
I'm not going to speculate.
He's winning the game. Second Infinity Edge.
He's winning the game. I'm not going to speculate.
Here's the Baron being taken down by Detonation FocusMe, and with that, the only way I think Ascension can win this match...
I hope they win a team fight, so I get to see what Saros is building.
The only way I think Ascension win this is if that turret in their fountain comes alive and walks out of the 6th member on Summoner's Rift. Other than that, it's going to take a miracle for Death FocusMe.
Also correctly just been told that it also builds into Rage Blade.
Ah.
I still don't like that. It's the best choice out of all the choices he has, I guess. But this feels awkward.
Well, he's winning the game of League of Legends right now. I'm not going to try and argue about what he's built. But now, FocusMe still looking to see if they can close this one out nice and clean. Down under bottom lane, working on that inhibitor. Wanting to make sure they get both super minions from each lane, charging in towards the base.
And top lane won't be too far behind because you can see that they're starting to cut the waves off. They're really starting to force this one in. And as we said, they have to fight somewhere. They're using abilities to keep creeps off turrets. I mean, this is just a strange final stand coming out of Ascension.
You have to pick a last stand somewhere. If not, you just slowly get crushed by
all summoner spells available, and now they're going to have 3 creep waves. So it's like the proverbial 6-man marching on their door.
Let's see what they can do. Now everyone's collapsing on him. Paz threatening with the flag. Everyone from Ascension just holding behind. Both turrets are going to go down. Nexus is exposed, and it's actually going to be FocusMe that engage. Renren's the first one to fall down. The rest of the members follow shortly after. Nooney's the target. Warlock's trying to put up a fight with Lloyd and G4, but it's not going to be enough. And with that, Detonation FocusMe are going to pick up their second victory here today as soon as they decide they want to take down this Nexus.
I mean, it didn't even look like that bad of a team fight, but in the end, Detonation FocusMe get it done. Inactivity bite Ascension hard, and a game that was played firmly on DFM's style.
Yeah, like, I didn't even think they were going to team fight by the end there. I thought they were just going to take all the buildings.
Yep.
Just Ascension just never pulled the trigger, and they had abilities to do so. They just looked really gun-shy.
And with that, we're going to welcome Jake from Avant back to the desk.
Hey,
I'm so happy to have you. Please, you're not going to make any Santa puns or things like that, right?
Can't guarantee anything.
If he had a good one, that would have come out straight away.
Oh,
So I
good.
think
Was
we're
I-
pretty
No, we're
safe.
safe. Tegan was safe, right?
I just
Jake's back.
want to know how you felt about Jake talking about how Blinky catches.
Oh, I was dealing with that on Twitter, actually. He's not happy with you. He's clipped it and everything. He's going to have some firm words with
Jake.
you.
You got to be careful.
All in good fun. All in good fun.
I don't know if he's going to take it that way, but I can't stand between you two, so you have to sort it out.
I don't think anyone could stand between Blinky and someone. I'm not even going to try.
All right.
Oh, goodness.
But that game, very interesting game of League of
Yeah,
Legends.
let's go back into the actual match of League of Legends, shall we? Detonation FocusMe able to pick up their second victory in group stage, so they go undefeated as the second seed so far. Do they look like they're going to be one of the best teams at this tournament? Because Ascension, we said they're going to be the second best team in this tournament.
Well, I was talking about how LJL are going to live and die through their 2 and 3 seeds, and that's what they're doing. Detonation FM, they look like they should have been the first seed. They're looking really strong, and I think coming into the relay, that's what might carry them over the line against someone like Gigabyte Marines.
I think it is, however, very fair to say that Direwolves is streaks ahead of the rest of the Oceanic competition at the moment. I mean, they were able to 3-1 in pretty convincing fashion at that stage, and they also beat out the Chiefs, who people like, I mean, I'm sure there's some armchair analysts saying the Chiefs are right behind them. I mean, they were able to beat them as well. I'm on a stool, not an armchair. At the same time, it looks like the Gigabyte Marines are ahead of the other teams in the GPL. So whilst DFM had very good performances, you do have to question if this was against the Marines, would it have looked as clean? And I think the gut answer right now is no, although they are still playing very, very clean league.
But again, just like when we compare Gigabyte Marines to teams like SKT and World Elite, comparing someone like Dead FM to Gigabyte Marines, again, it's just a hard ask for them.
Yep, it certainly is.
And remember that this tournament is based on the seeds from every single region. So even if Gigabyte Marines go undefeated in group stage, if the rest of the GPL teams drop all their games, now LJL will actually qualify for the finals straight up.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, someone else has to be able to take games, because even if they go into the King of the Hill format, Gigabyte Marines can carry them through to the final day, but they can only win 2 games for you on the final day. So either Ascension or the third place seed in Mineski are going to have to be able to pick up convincing games at some point during this tournament, because otherwise, as you said, Gigabyte Marines, they're not enough for the Southeast Asian region at the moment.
Well, we can now actually take a look at the results for today. You can see first up, it was Gigabyte Marines picking up a victory over the Direwolves. Legacy dropped their game to Detonation FocusMe. Unsold stuff. They sold something against me. I think they picked up a 1-0 victory. Direwolves then come back to pick up their revenge against Rampage. And finally, Detonation FocusMe pick up their second win of this tournament.
I mean, I thought that at this stage, Blue Side had a little bit of a drafting advantage just because the OPs still exist. But to see 4 games go down on an international tournament kind of just speaks volumes to how, at this stage, having to ban out the OPs, although we've only seen it a couple of times, really does hurt you drafting on red side at the moment. And I think that if this continually is seen as a trend, then seeding becomes incredibly important heading into those second and third days.
My problem is we saw a lot of blue side teams banning out OPs. We saw a lot of Galio and Elise bans from them. So is that just indicative of there being so many that blue side also has to ban out and trade for something strong? Or is it just blue side has an inherent advantage drafting?
Yeah, I definitely think there's just so many champions in the meta you can play at the moment. There's very few like clear picks that are just like going to dominate. There's obviously, I think like Renekton is a super good pick, but there's obviously like Thresh.
Just surprise. Yeah.
There's Thresh. Like people, they're fine playing Braum, Tahm Kenshin to that. There's so many picks that are available.
And I mean, even internationally, I mean, I think we saw Zach get through a couple of games today. Was able to lose one of them. Galio, we've seen lose a ton, and there are certainly counter picks out there as well. So even when we call them, OPs, the draft is very open, and I think that the priority picks like the Corkies will soon start being addressed because we've just seen that there is a new wave coming of lane control that scales so incredibly well into the late game. And gone are the days that late game carry champions have bad early and mid games. People have figured out a way to circumvent them, and they are just, the Kates, the Corkies are absolutely taking over the current meta.
Renektons as well. Everyone's evolved.
Well, gentlemen, we've had 5 games played here today, but there's only one team that has yet to take to the four Rift rivals, and that's our hometown heroes of Sin Gaming, who the hopes and dreams of Oceania still lie on their shoulders to pick up a 2-0 victory. No pressure, guys. What do you think of their chances now after we've already seen Mineski, Ascension, as well as Unsold Stuff gaming play?
I mean, when you have a look at it, I mean, Mineski didn't look fantastic. No, so I think that when you look at Sin and Mineski, that to me looked more like a coin flip. I think Unsold Stuff actually looked pretty decent around Summoner's Rift. I think their aggression will certainly push Sin. And that one comes down to the early game, because I think that both of those teams are going to be very heavy snowballing teams. I have absolutely no doubt that Sin can close out a game if they get a lead, because they play fearless League of Legends. It's going to be getting that lead that is a problem at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Mineski, they looked shaky today, and Unsold Stuff, they're very aggressive. They took they put the Blitzcrank, like the Warwick, interesting picks like that. And Sin, I really want to see them get their rookies into the game. We all know how good Ryoma and FBI can be, and I think it's up to like their coaching staff and maybe Juves as a leader on the team to just get them focused on the international stage.
They also have to deal with the fact that they can't play Zach. And again, that's just a practicing. They haven't done it enough. Juves knows that. Have they been able to get it into scrims and get it up to par? Because I don't think other teams are going to ban it against them. So they might leave it open, throw down the gauntlet and say, either you play it or we get it for free.
Well, for now, we can actually take a look at tomorrow's matches to wrap up the group stage for Rift Rivals 2017. Mineski will take on Sin as the first match of today. Then Rampage try to take down the Giants of Gigabyte Marines. Ascension will take on Legacy. And to wrap it all up, Sin will try to see if they can buy some stuff from Unsold Stuff Gaming.
And that is actually really crucial that Sin gets, in my opinion, the weakest team of the tournament to kick this off, because they are an emotionally charged team. And when Juves is playing, aggressive League of Legends, it's more about how it's not about himself. It's about, what he's calling to Ryoma, what he's calling to FBI. As we said, they are the rookies. When their captain has confidence, when he's making those big plays, those two players in particular elevate their game to a very impressive level.
Yeah, there's the running joke, obviously, here in Oceania that when Juves dies, that's when he's unlocked.
Hang on a second. I get in trouble for having the Blinky joke out there, and then you just pull...
That's not my joke.
Carbon's joke.
Is that Carbon's joke?
Yes.
Okay, well, when Juves dies, his shot calling's unlocked, and Sin just become 10 times better.
Well, but now let's actually take a look at the standings after today's matches. Right on top is going to be LOL Japan League. I actually believe that they're currently 3 points. I'm not quite sure about that one. Oceanic Pro League, 1 league, as well as the GPL, 1 point at the moment.
Actually, hang on a second, are they?
Yeah, that should be 5 points, right? 5 games?
Yeah. They've got 3 points at the moment. So, with that, now, the hopes and dreams in Oceania really rest on Sin's shoulders, because if they can't take down Unsold Stuff, no matter what happens, Oceania cannot place automatically into the finals. In fact, every single game tomorrow, Oceania has to win.
Yep, that is correct.
I believe in you, Sin.
I mean, if they take the first series, they have a damn good shot. Like you said, they're really emotionally charged. They play a lot off tempo. We saw that in the gauntlet run. Once they started getting I want to say a head full of steam, they looked nigh unstoppable. So if they can do that here, there's a good chance.
And I also think the attitude of the Oceanic teams has been pretty impressive so far. They came in, they seemed pretty level-headed in their interviews. I would say that was mirrored in the LJL interviews, and somewhere backstage, I mean, the Gigabyte Marines are giving the Coach Carter speech to the rest of the Southeast Asian teams of a lifetime. They are really trying to rally troops behind closed doors, because they are on home soil here, and they need the rest of the Southeast Asian squad to step up.
And just like the OPL, the GPL teams need all 3 victories tomorrow to to even think about placing in the grand finals on Wednesday. So right now, it actually looks like a LJL favored tournament after day one, and rightfully so. All three teams looked really impressive today.
It's opposite of what we were saying at the start, I guess. Everyone thought, GPL.
Finally, they're the dark horse that everyone
great,
thought
though.
they'd
It's great
be.
for such a young region to have these types of results.
I mean, I did say that if they were going to get this, they were going to do it through spots 2 and 3. And we said that they all looked strong, but I wasn't really impressed with Rampage.
I mean, it depends, right? If I hedge every bet I have and, I give every team a condition to win, I'm sure one of them will come up trumps as well. But
I didn't hedge every bet.
Come on. But at the same time, I think that the true strength of what comes through will be tomorrow, because we really don't have a finger on the pulse of how good DFM were, because they beat, in my opinion, 2 pretty middle-of-the-road teams from what the performances we just saw out of them. So unless Legacy come out and absolutely blow the seed out of the water in Ascension, then really what we'll be saying is that it's a very even spread, but the top teams in the regions are still the dominant seeds.
Yeah, so we'll have to try and keep track of that. I mean, Gigabyte Marines especially, they look like they're outright favorites in this tournament, super dominant. But again, because of this format, not going to help them as much, but it's still really cool to watch all the number 1 seeds go up against each other. And again, we've seen different play styles from every single region. Japan with unorthodox picks, Daiwo sticking to all of their macro play with a lot of split pushing, whereas the GPL teams, we didn't quite see what they were known for, which is a lot of aggression.
It seems like they reinvented themselves almost. Gigabyte Marines, instead of being aggressive, just played patient, waited for mistakes, capitalized. I don't really know what to say we saw from Ascension besides Detonation FM controlling them all games, so hard to really make a decision. And Mineski just looked, like I said before, inconsistent, didn't look strong.
Well, the one team that we've actually seen play quick League of Legends is USG. I mean, all the other teams actually have played relatively slow League of Legends, I think it's fair to say. So potentially as a meta thing is potentially taking those scaling picks and, a lot of lane focus as opposed to highly ganking. But I think that we potentially saw some of that out of Steel in that game when he was able to get top lane into mid lane ganks, very successful on the Rek'Sai. So I think that it's just, maybe a mixture of first day jitters coming out from these teams that maybe haven't been overseas as much as we've seen. And the fact that the meta maybe doesn't suit it.
Well, speaking of Steel, really quickly, we have Hingers standing by live in Vietnam with him. He clearly was the MVP of that match, so let's have a quick chat with him to see what he has to say.
Hey guys, I'm here with Steel, who's just picked up that victory. How does it feel to go 2-0 today for your team?
오늘 이제 2경기에 승리하셨잖아요. 이게 이제 어떤 기분인지 지금 한 말씀만 부탁드립니다.
지금 2대0으로 기분 좋게 2판 다 이겨서 너무 기분이 좋고요. 앞으로도 더 좋은 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
We are so excited and glad that we win both of matches today, and then I will try to show you best perform for the honor matches also.
Are you surprised? You seem surprised that you won both your matches. Were you confident going in?
솔직히 지금 조금 뭐랄까 놀랐다고 해야 되나? 그러니까 승리를 이렇게 두 경기 다 가져와가지고 놀란 모습이신 것 같은데 이렇게 될 거라고 알고 계셨나요? 아니면은 약간 예상치 못한 결과였나요?
저는 솔직히 우리 팀을 믿고 이제 저희도 LJL에서 충분히 1위도 할 수 있고 다른 나라 팀들도 잘하지만 저희 팀들도 잘하기 때문에 분명히 2판 다 이길 거라고 믿고 있었습니다.
So he said that he fully trusts his team and he has a full credit on the team, and we have a power to be a first place from the LJN, and even though like all other teams in other region are also very good, I knew that we were gonna win. He was so confident with his team and his own performance.
That's a very diplomatic answer. So moving forward then, what is LJL as a region doing at this tournament? Are you guys working together? Are you scrimming together? Or are you trying to practice with the other teams instead?
그러니까 준비하실 때 같은 일본인 팀들끼리 같이 모여서 연습을 하고 준비를 하셨나요? 아니면 다른 국가 팀들이랑도 스크림을 좀 하고 연습하셨나요?
저희 팀은 일단 LJL 팀들끼리 3팀 다 모여서 다른 팀들에 대한 전력 분석도 하고 그거에 대한 뱀픽이 어떻게 됐다 이런 식도 얘기를 나누고 스크림도 일본 팀끼리 했습니다. 연습들 다.
So when they prepare for the matches, they group together with all the other LJL teams, and then they analysis about pick and bans and all the for the each respective teams, and then we prepare by ourselves. Even the screen we train together within the Japanese team only.
Yeah, wow, excellent stuff. All right, well, thank you so much for speaking to us, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
일단 오늘 축하드리고요. 이때 또 나중에 있을 매치에 대해서 또 좋은 결과 있길 바라겠습니다.
Thank you.
There you guys got to hear from Steel really quickly there about his thoughts on the tournament as well as the LGL. But that wraps us up for tonight. I would like to thank our analysts here, Tegan, Jake, as well as Spawn, our production crew, and everyone back at home for watching. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more Rift Rivals action.
Onto Fantix, and everyone from Gigabyte Marines piles on in. Big package used by Fantix. Everyone from Gigabyte is standing on top of it, but they say thank you for the Baron. Let's see if you can steal this one back away from us. They can't. Levi secures it. They only lose their top lane, and they get 2 kills for it as well.
Yeah, and now they rotate down to the bottom lane. This turret already taken quite a bit of damage. There goes Saya.
Double flash play with the box. Chaos Storm and everything being dumped onto the Oceanic lineup. Triple kill, quadra kill picked up by Callista. Looking for a penta kill. He is going to be able to pick it up in the first game of Rift Rivals.
I mean, it's not a penta, it's only a quadra kill. Chippies is still alive in the fountain. Come on, Fish. Pull it together, mate. He's now teleported to a side lane just to deny that. But still, your point stands. Gigabyte Marines are going to pick up the first game.
They will be able to pick it up against the Direwolves. The first team from the GPL getting their win in their home crowd.
Claire going aggressive against Seros, dodged out away from the satchel charge, but Seros is turning this one out quite nicely, throws out a minefield, and Steel flashes for the knockup. First blood picked up by Rexa. Legacy startup Dragon are taking a lot of damage trying to get out of this pit. Carbon's locked down and gets blown up by the Ziggs to kick things off. Double kill for Seros in this fight. Late Equalizer coming out from Tally. He's trying to keep it alive. Triple kill for the Ziggs. Claire's going to be taken out by Steel, and that's an early ace. Yep, Legacy looking for a fight. They catch out Detonation. FocusMe. Mega Inferno Bomb will connect onto 4 members. Tally's in the back lines on top of Utapon. He's got nowhere to go. Blast Cone will get him to safety. He's still burning it. Carbon tries to launch in, but Seros interrupts his jump with the satchel charge. They take down the captain.
Big equalizer.
Paz right into the back lines. Double kill picked up by Seros. Claire looking for a fight. Almost gets taken down. Paz still trying to go toe-to-toe. He's going to be knocked away. Suddenly Steel's got to get out of there as well. Fedder's being thrown into the ninja himself. Shot blast narrowly away from the Rex side. Legacy will be able to pick up a 2-for-2 trade. Cupcake trying to do whatever he can. He just can't. Turret 1 gone. Turret 2 destroyed. And the Nexus will be taken down. It will be DFM coming in on the top for the LJL. That's a flash forward. Looking for a kill. The shove doesn't connect. One more auto. Remind picks up first blood, but they do have hammers up there as well to return the kill. Oh, Remind though snipes off one in the back line. We'll get the ultimate coming out from Java to lock him down. That will be a pick for themselves. Unsold stuff. They've got no health bars. They don't care. They just keep moving forward. Hummus is off somewhere and fighting the wolf camp for some reason, but still, it's the Japanese team that comes out on top.
I mean, he also killed Remind, who kind of blew up their mid laner Exo.
He's about to die. The Thriller comes through and picks up the ace, and Zen is back up. Blitzcrank's going to try and join the fight as well. There goes Neo, locking them all down. Another kill onto the support, and Unsold Stuff take the LJL to 2 points in day 1.
There's again coming in. Ultimate used by the Camille a little bit too soon. Tussle taking some damage. Chippy's trying to jump away. Wolf Flash early, being followed through though. You've got nowhere to go. Everyone from Rampage just charging on down towards this Jackson. First blood is picked up by Evie in the top lane. Teleport behind. Ramune actually getting caught out. Winter Spike connects. They lock him down. Knocked up as well. Easy kill for Shermfire. And now it's Evie stuck behind this turret because Chippy's has teleported in as well. Another Winter Spike. They're trying to lock her down. Ultimate to keep him alive a little bit longer, but Shermfire pops the ultimate himself and picks up a double. Oh, there goes Tussle jumping straight back in. Evie's right behind him. King will eventually flash away. The hook shot comes through. Good cleanse coming out to Caitlyn. Is it enough? He gets one. Looking for 2. He gets the second as well. And now Dara's forced to run away, but Fantix hunts him down. Double kill picked up for the Corki, and Direwolves are looking for the win.
Your boy King has gone absolutely insane in that last team fight. Blown up the comp, and that's going to be Oceania's first victory.
First victory for Oceania, and finally taking down one of the teams from the LJL. Rampage will drop the game and unfortunately not be able to pick up that extra point, but still, Oceania's hope still available here.
There goes Paz. Gets the knock up. Renekton already at half health and knocked up by the Rex side as well. He tries to double dash away, but still first blood picked up by Steel. G4 should be forced to flash away. Good damage from Seros. Use the heal. Flash forward. Final auto attack goes through, and Steel gets the second kill of the game for Destination. FocusMe. And he's going to get knocked up by Paz. Paz is standing and delivering. Still takes quite a bit of damage. Cataclysm comes down. Remnant's forced to flash away. Now Nooney's in trouble. Look at this. Steel's on the top side of the map. Is he going to get the third? He gets his third kill in this match. And Heal now
now they're just piling on in. Look at this. Nooney's the first to fall. Ultimate use onto G4. He's going to have to use the Dark Patch to get away. Good dodge of the arrow. Great flay onto Seal to get him away. There's the ultimate burnt by Oriana, trying to lock him down. Flash forward from Renner. He's popped the Dominus as well. Lloyd really far up. Trying to kite back. Paz in trouble. Good kill onto Saras coming out from Ascension's AD carry. And they're still chasing down the rest of their members. And another scrappy fight here inside the red side of jungle on Ascension's side. Warlock incredibly low. Vivid picks up that first
great cast.
Saw a good cast. Good shockwave as well. Unicorn said it is. Support follows shortly after. Steel can't do too much. Paz is trying to 1v1 Lloyd in the back lines, but it's the Varus that got the upper hand. Nooney jumps on in. Paz is trying to fight from a distance. Gets a big shield from his W. Seal is trying to cut him off to make sure he stays safe. Really low, still jumping on in, gets taken down immediately off of the back of this fight, but Lloyd tries to stand and deliver against Unipon. That's not going to work. G4 connects with a two-man shockwave, but even that's not enough. Warlock trying to run away from Paz, not going to happen. Flag and drag straight on top of the Thresh, picking up another kill, and that's an ace, picked up by Detonation FocusMe. Now everyone's collapsing on him. Paz threatening with the flag. Everyone from Ascension just holding behind. Both turrets are going to go down. Nexus is exposed, and it's actually going to be FocusMe that engaged. Renren's the first one to fall down. The rest of the members swallow shortly after. Nooney's the target. Warlock's trying to put up a fight with Lloyd and G4, but it's not going to be enough. And with that, Detonation FocusMe are going to pick up their second victory here today as soon as they decide they want to take down this Nexus.